We continue to call out what sounded like a Gadwall, but many of them stopped there. Phil Robertson's role as the dad on the hit reality show Duck Dynasty has made him a fan favorite. He has a reputation for being direct, firm, and loving his children hard. When word got out that Phil had a terminal illness, fans were devastated because it would put a strain on him and his family. Join us as we uncover the truth about Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson. Even as a young boy, Phil Robertson had it tough. On April 24, 1946, he entered this world in Vivian, Louisiana. Of 7 children, Phil was the 5th. Electricity, running water, and other contemporary conveniences were non-existent in his childhood home. Winters were particularly harsh because the family's small, dilapidated house wasn't good at keeping out the weather. Because of his father's low-paying jobs as a farmer and miller, the family was perpetually hungry. For sustenance, they were compelled to engage in hunting, fishing, and cultivating their own crops. Rather than enjoying himself as a child, he had to focus on surviving. In his spare time, Phil mastered the art of trapping and shooting mice with a gun. These abilities eventually shaped his identity. But despite instilling in him strong moral principles, Phil's mother lacked affection. Survival took precedence over emotions in this household, and the rules were often extremely rigid. Phil suffered severe emotional wounds as a result of his poverty. Every decision the Robertson kids made as kids was dictated by what they had to do, because there weren't many material ways for them to escape. Wearing out shoes and clothing was commonplace, and attending class was seen more as a duty than an opportunity to meet new people. Nonetheless, Phil displayed intelligence and strength at a young age. He grew very attached to nature after finding solace in it. Phil emerged from his challenging youth determined and self-reliant, despite the hardships he endured. He became the man he is today because of these struggles. Many would find inspiration in his tale of overcoming adversity to achieve great success. Just like when he was a kid, Phil's early adult years were a whirlwind of trouble, mayhem, and self-destruction. He lost control of his life when he began to drink excessively, fight frequently, and act impulsively. He was once a top player. Due to his difficult upbringing, he developed an unhealthy obsession with hunting and spending time outdoors, to the point where he frequently neglected his responsibilities at home. While attending Louisiana Tech University on an athletic scholarship, Phil's distaste for organized life began to show. He disliked the discipline that organized sports imposed on him, despite his skill as a quarterback. He went fishing and shooting instead of practicing. He preferred the excitement of nature to the discipline required to excel at a sport. He squandered most of his on-field potential due to his preoccupation with irrelevant matters. The Washington Commanders even offered Phil a professional football playing contract, but he declined, citing his preference for shooting sports. In the past, he ran alongside the legendary runner Terry Bradshaw. The opportunity to play in the NFL went to Terry instead of Phil. "See, before, I used to tell everybody about a guy named Phil Robertson," said he. "His release of the ball would rival that of Joe Namath, that I recall." It was Phil's signature outfit, levies, and a t-shirt. After finishing college, Phil's life went off the rails. He had no idea what to do after that. In an effort to kill time, Phil began engaging in risky behavior, which exacerbated his erratic mood swings caused by his pent-up rage. He was a major source of conflict and chaos due to his erratic mood. There was a lot of strife in Phil's youth marriage to his high school sweetheart, Miss Kay. Their relationship was tested by his reckless behavior and destructive lifestyle. They began living together at the tender age of 21 after getting married in the mid-1960s. For her family, Miss Kay had many aspirations. She had hoped they would be robust, but they struggled mightily in their formative years. Once Phil tied the knot, he started to lose his bearings. He became a wild partier after opening a bar. His nights were filled with a myriad of unpleasant experiences. Rather than a partner, Miss Kay occasionally felt more like a single mother. She was struggling to meet the needs of their expanding family, but Phil seemed unconcerned. It was expensive, and they were usually strapped for cash. He had a shot at success, but his flings ruined it. Because he was self-absorbed, Phil betrayed his wife on multiple occasions. Despite her immense pain and broken heart, she remained resolute in her mission to preserve the unity of her family. What kept her safe was her faith, but her love for Phil was continually tested as his bad behavior worsened. The fact that Phil was so irate made this the most difficult moment. One time, in his anger, he assaulted a man and his wife. Then, in order to evade the authorities, Phil bolted, abandoning his family in the process. The Blind, a true-life Netflix original film released in 2023, chronicled the early years of Phil and Miss Kay's marriage following his separation from his family. Miss Kay, she had finally snapped. She had to raise their children largely on her own due to a lack of financial resources. But through it all, she never stopped believing in him. She didn't completely reject Phil because of her strong religious beliefs and her love for him. She hoped that he would regain his former self and wake up someday, so she continued to pray for him. But Phil was out in the wilderness by himself, struggling with feelings of isolation and meaninglessness. After drifting aimlessly for some time, he had a profound epiphany. One day, he had a profound epiphany. He realized that leading a self-centered life was hurting him and those around him. At that moment, Phil prayed for salvation through his faith. He reconsidered after realizing the extent to which his actions had caused him and his loved ones pain. The consequences of his decisions had been devastating, so he knew it was time to put things right. After some time away from Miss Kay, Phil eventually began to yell out. First things first, he reached out to Miss Kay and attempted to mend fences with his children. His relationship with Miss Kay had broken, but he was slowly putting it back together. On the other side, she was happy to see him again, but she proceeded with caution since she knew trust between them needed to be restored. Reuniting was not a picnic for either of them. Time, honest communication, and Phil's development allowed the couple to overcome their painful history. They were closer than ever before after Phil recommitted himself to his loved ones, his religion, and a routine. After forgiving and understanding one another, they were able to get back together because they believed that love, when nurtured, could overcome any obstacle. When Phil finally kicked his vices, he made a dramatic change in his life. Duck Commander, a manufacturer of duck calls and shooting equipment, was established by him in 1973. Revolutionized the industry with his groundbreaking Duck Commander duck call and shot to fame among hunters. Then Duck Dynasty shot to fame after its 2012 debut, becoming a top-rated program on the network. Over the course of the show's 11 seasons, the Robertson family rose to fame. Phil Robertson's outspoken views on controversial issues sparked much discussion and brought the Robertson family widespread fame through Duck Dynasty. A national backlash ensued after he made some critical comments in an interview with GQ in 2013. The network that aired Duck Dynasty, A&E, briefly removed him from the program due to his comments. The incident sparked a contentious debate. A number of Phil's admirers defended him, saying that he had every right to speak out for his principles. In the eyes of many, Phil's suspension was an extreme measure meant to stifle expression and free thought. Phil, on the other side, had his remarks deemed damaging and criticized. The channel changed their mind after hearing Phil's support, even though they had previously said negative things about him. Phil was always forthright about his identity. No one cared about his opinions on the show. Viewers just wanted him to represent those who shared their views. Even though Phil had never met his daughter Phyllis, he learned of her existence in 2020. He had an affair with her while he was in the midst of his problems. A DNA test confirmed her family ties to the Robertson, and she contacted Phil as a result. The news shocked and humbled Phil, who had worked so hard to change his life. Hi, I'm Phyllis, and I'm really enjoying myself here on the porch of our brand new log house. In fact, it is a camp for hunters. We have infused a bit more of our identity into Louisiana since our relocation. A wide range of emotions washed over Phil when Phyllis abruptly entered his life. At first, it was a joyous reunion that allowed Phil to reconnect with a long-lost child. Looking back on his troubled past was painful, though. This had altered Phil's life, he knew. It sent a powerful message that even those who have sinned in the past can be forgiven and given another chance. The birth of Phyllis brought joy and sorrow to Miss Kay and the Robertson family. She was a welcome addition to the group, but her presence brought back painful memories of a time when Phil's life was in utter disarray. With that said, they made the decision to embrace Phyllis as a member of their family. Reflecting on the situation, Miss Kay understood the importance of being understanding and forgiving, and she expressed her gratitude to Phyllis for being present. Due to their advanced age and numerous health issues, Phil and his wife have been through a lot of hardship in recent years. Aside from Phil's personal health issues, Miss Kay's problems have also tested their relationship. Several health issues have beset Miss Kay in recent years. Because she is both strong and kind, her fans adore. Bobo, her dog, bit her in June 2021, sending her to the hospital, one of the worst things that could have happened. The severity of the injuries to her lips and mouth necessitated medical attention. Life can change at a moment's notice, even for someone with Miss Kay's resilience. This was evident despite her speedy recovery. The news of Miss Kay's return to the hospital in March 2024 was a source of concern for her loved ones. Phil updated everyone on her progress and expressed their anticipation of her return home in a social media post. At her age, everything requires a lot more attention, and even minor health issues take a long time to heal, even though she wasn't in imminent danger of dying. Serious health issues that have affected both Phil and Miss Kay in recent years have greatly impacted his life and family. One of the most concerning aspects of Phil's health is his blood problem. He is forthright about his illness, which impacts his red blood cells and causes fatigue, weakness, and other symptoms. Willie, Phil's son, has stated that the disorder hinders his ability to maintain his active lifestyle, even though the precise diagnosis remains unknown to the public. This health issue has been challenging for Phil because he enjoys being active, helping out with the family business and being outdoors. With the support of his medical team, he has been adjusting his schedule and healthcare to accommodate the problem. The news that Phil had Alzheimer's disease at the end of 2024 shocked everyone, even more so than the blood issue. His loved ones informed him that he is in the early stages of the disease, which has already had a devastating impact on his cognitive abilities. As the neurological disease progresses, it will impact his memory, thoughts, and actions. Because of this, he will find it increasingly difficult to do things. Words failed Phil and his loved ones when they received the news. Phil has remained loyal to his faith and family despite the emotional toll that the disease has taken on him. Despite the challenges he has faced, he has maintained an optimistic outlook and has continued to live life to the fullest. The news that Phil Robertson had Alzheimer's shocked his loved ones and the millions of viewers who had followed him on Duck Dynasty. Because he was genuine and exuded an air of superiority, Phil was beloved by many. They were very complimentary of his work ethic, humor, and family values. His friends were shocked and saddened to hear that he was battling Alzheimer's. Phil had been an inspiration for a long time, and his legion of fans never imagined that he could be going through anything so tough. The character that viewers had grown to know and love on the show, the one who was tough and sure of himself, was completely absent from the announcement. His fans were particularly devastated by his Alzheimer's diagnosis because they had witnessed his unwavering determination to overcome life's challenges. Many were distressed to hear the news because they had come to know Phil and his family. Many of his friends wanted to let him know how much they loved him by praying for him and thinking about him as he began this challenging journey. Miss Kay was among many who wrote to express their condolences to Phil's family. Their fans understood how emotionally taxing the illness would be for them both. Hearing this news broke the hearts of many because it brought home the importance of being there for sick loved ones and the fleeting nature of time. Whatever the future holds, Phil Robertson will be remembered for the legacy he left behind. He has worked tirelessly to improve the lives of others and has a fantastic job to boot. He has done charitable work to promote family values and support causes close to his heart. Because of his own difficult history, he has also made a concerted effort to assist others in quitting drug use. Family values and solidarity have long been causes close to Phil's heart. Donations from his business and public appearances support organizations that provide therapy and education to families. Locally in Louisiana, he and his family have been involved with youth programs and charity events that aim to aid low-income families and soldiers, among other things. Like always, Phil's friends are rooting for him to win, no matter how tough things are right now.